In the impoverished Whitechapel district of London, a serial killer known as Jack the Ripper was active in 1888, striking fear into the hearts of the local population. The killer was also referred to as the Whitechapel Murderer and Leather Apron. But what drove this individual to commit such heinous crimes? What was the catalyst for the terror that gripped the streets of Whitechapel? The victims of Jack the Ripper were typically women working as prostitutes who lived in the slums of the East End of London. They suffered fatal injuries, including throat and abdominal wounds, and in some cases, internal organs were removed. The nature of these injuries led to speculation that the killer had some anatomical or surgical knowledge. But was this speculation founded on fact, or was it merely a theory? The name Jack the Ripper originated from the Dear Boss letter, which was written by someone claiming to be the murderer. However, the authenticity of this letter is widely disputed, and many believe it to be a hoax. So, who was behind this letter, and what was their motive for writing it? The From Hell letter was another correspondence allegedly sent by the killer, and it came with a gruesome accompaniment, a preserved human organ. This letter was received by George Lusk of the Whitechapel Vigilance Committee, and it sparked widespread fear and speculation. But was this letter genuinely from the killer, or was it another hoax? The public's perception of the murders was heavily influenced by the extensive media coverage of the crimes. The brutality and savagery of the killings shocked the nation, and soon, the legend of Jack the Ripper was born. But as the investigation into the murders continued, it became clear that the police were dealing with a complex and challenging case. The police investigation into the murders was led by the Metropolitan Police Service, and it was a difficult and frustrating process. The police were unable to connect all the killings conclusively to the 1888 murders, and the case remained a mystery. But what about the victims? Who were they, and what were their stories? The canonical 5 victims of Jack the Ripper were Marion Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly. These women were all murdered between August 31 and November 9, 1888, and their deaths were characterized by similar violent circumstances. But what were the circumstances surrounding their deaths, and what clues did the police find at the crime scenes? The body of Marion Nichols was discovered in Bucks Row, Whitechapel, on August 31, 1888. She was later found deceased, with evidence of a violent attack. The police found no witnesses or suspects at the scene, and the case remained a mystery. But as the investigation continued, the police began to uncover more clues and piece together the events of that fateful night. The murder of Annie Chapman was another brutal and shocking crime. Her body was found in the backyard of 29 Hanbury Street, Spitalfields, on September 8, 1888. The police found that she had suffered severe injuries, and her death was the result of a violent attack. The killer had left no clues or witnesses behind, and the case remained unsolved. But what about the other victims? Were their deaths similar to Annie's? The population of Whitechapel was approximately 80,000 inhabitants by 1888, and the area was notorious for its poverty and crime. The streets were narrow and winding, with many alleyways and courtyards. It was the perfect environment for a serial killer to operate, and the police had a difficult task in tracking down the killer. But what about the social and economic conditions that contributed to the rise of Jack the Ripper? The social and economic conditions in Whitechapel were dire, with many people living in poverty and squalor. The area was home to many brothels and prostitutes, and the police had a difficult task in maintaining law and order. The nightly price for a coffin bed was 4p, and many people were forced to live in cramped and unsanitary conditions. But what about the impact of these conditions on the victims and their families? The case of Jack the Ripper remains one of the most infamous unsolved serial killer cases in history. Despite numerous investigations and theories, the killer was never caught, and the case remains a mystery. But what about the legacy of Jack the Ripper? How has it impacted our understanding of serial killers and the social conditions that contribute to their rise?